It's time to bring back the fan reaction, fan-inspired series on the YouTube channel that we had running on during the summer of 2019. I started off this series before I went over to Taiwan and Japan, so I had a fun time making videos about trade proposals before I left and uploading them while I was in Asia. This is NHL Trade Proposals, the series where we take a look at your trade proposals that you send me either in the comment section of this video or in the comment section of the post on my community tab, and we focus on them, show them off to the audience, and ask the viewers of this video, hey, would you do this? Why not? Or why would you? This is the first episode of 2020 in the series, and we're taking a look at a comment from our friend over here, Francis Tardif. He has a trade proposal that goes as follows. Montreal Canadiens acquire Matthew Barzal and Devon Toews in exchange for Jesperi Kotkaniemi and their first-round pick in 2020 that is most likely going to be from either 8th or 9th overall. The reason they would do this is so that Montreal doesn't have to do the offer sheet and the Islanders have a good prospect instead of only the draft picks. Now, before we dissect this, comment down in the comments below, would you do this? If yes, talk about why. If not, talk about why. And while you're at it, let me know which perspective you are talking about, because some Montreal fans could definitely want to do this, some would not want to, and some Islanders fans would want to and not want to as well. So while you're at it, talk about which perspective you're coming from, just so we're a little bit more clear in the comments section below. But this is a very interesting trade proposal because on the Canadiens' point of view, you have two assets that everybody just can't seem to shut up about. You have Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who is the Canadiens' third overall draft pick from 2018. He had a sophomore slump. He's only 19 years old. He's going to get better, but a lot of people are kind of throwing the harp towards Kotkaniemi as to what he is, what he could be, if he's a bust, etc. I'm not going to say he's a bust, but I will say that people have been talking about him in some capacity in that way. You also have the first round pick of the Habs in 2020, which in this case is probably going to be around the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 range, depending on how the draft lottery goes, if they're going to change up the lottery entirely, and if the possibility exists that other teams leapfrog Montreal. These are very important pieces and two highly controversial pieces within the Canadiens organization amongst the fan base. But the trade proposal going back the other way sees Matthew Barzal coming to Montreal as well as Devon Toews. Matthew Barzal is an RFA to be, a guy who at 22 years old already has over 200 points in just over 200 NHL games played. The guy is just under a point per game in his entire career, and he started off his NHL tenure getting 85 points in 82 games with the stacked New York Islanders. This is back when they had Tavares, back when Barzal won the Calder. He's had a few up and down years since then. Recently, he's just wrapping up an under point per game season with the Islanders, 60 points, 68 games played. His previous year before that, though, saw him take a dip in production. A lot of people will say that Tavares leaving did have a part in that. But Matthew Barzal is an RFA to be, and somebody that a lot of Canadiens fans have been saying, hey, offer sheet the guy. Give up some draft picks, give up some money to pry him away from the Islanders. So this trade proposal that Francis, our buddy here, has talked about says that the Canadiens can give up a draft pick as well as a Kotkaniemi to get a Barzal as well as a Devon Toews. Devon Toews is a 26-year-old left-handed defenseman who recently put up 28 points in 68 games played with the Islanders. Now, the reason why this is an interesting perspective instead of the offer sheet with Barzal is because if you offer sheet a Matthew Barzal and let's say the Islanders decide to take the draft picks instead, what are you going to give up? You're going to give up a first, a second, and a third, maybe even more than that, depending on how much money it is you spend on a Barzal. That first round pick, if it's the one for this season, is going to be that first round pick that is in the 8, 9, 10, 11 range already. So it really depends on whether or not you would want to give up a Kotkaniemi instead of the seconds, the thirds, maybe even another first, to get Barzal and to get an established top 4 left-handed defenseman. Now obviously trades like these are only really made with a contract set in place. I don't see a trade like this happening with any team where they're acquiring the rights to talk to an RFA to be. Normally trades like this happen where a team says, okay, we're acquiring this RFA, but we're only going to do the deal if he signs a contract with us. And then once the deal is made, oh, it's released, he signs an extension with whatever team is acquiring the player. So from that point of view, I'm kind of going to ignore the potential of the Canadiens just acquiring a straight-up RFA that is still going to be an RFA, because even if there isn't a contract in place, the Montreal Canadiens have a lot of money, and as a result, I think there is a lot of room to keep this team the way it is while still using up some money on big, highly touted players. So the Canadiens would be getting themselves a legit number 1 center. I think it's fair to say that Barzal is that already. They're going to have to shell out a lot of money to sign him, but as established, the Canadiens have the cap space. Have a guy like this guy on your team, and all of a sudden, Philippe Danault is your second-line center. Your third-line center? Who cares? Anybody you have can suffice that role. Montreal all of a sudden acquires what is going to be their best forward player on the team, and all of a sudden you're a playoff team, man. You get rid of a guy who was playing in the AHL for a Matthew Barzal straight up, that's great. But the addition of a Devon Toews is going to be so good too. This guy is a guy that I've been following for years because he's from BC. He played in the BCHL. He was with Quinnipiac, and he's just been getting better and better as his career has gone on. 28 points in 68 games is definitely not something to scoff at, and he's 26 years old. The guy is also on an expiring RFA deal, so the Canadiens are going to need to sign him to a contract as well, but money isn't really something that I'm taking a look at here because the Canadiens have cap space. As for the Islanders, though, this would be a move that the Islanders would only really make if they see a whole boatload of potential in a Kotkaniemi. If the Islanders see Kotkaniemi in the same way that the Canadiens saw Kotkaniemi back when they drafted him, there's definitely an argument to be made that Kotkaniemi, with all the similarities to Barkov and all the projections like Barkov, can be that valuable of a piece. Not to mention, a top 10 pick in the 2020 NHL draft certainly doesn't look too bad either. If you can get a guy like a Jake Sanderson, there's your replacement for Devon Toews. If you can get a guy like Alexander Holtz, who happens to drop down there in that top 10 spot. If you can get a Jack Quinn, if you can get an Anton Lundell, that's a potential replacement for Barzal in terms of being a top center. Obviously, their playstyles are different, I understand that, but top center is top center. If the Islanders want to focus on getting pieces for the future to play alongside of Oliver Wahlstrom, of Noah Dobson, then it could come in the form of, let's say, a Cole Perfetti, or a Marco Rossi, or a Noel Gunler in the top 10 of the 2020 NHL draft. If you want to get that and a Kotkaniemi, what you're doing is you're sacrificing a few really good years now for some even better years 5 years from now. So I don't really know if that's something the Islanders would want to do, especially with the fact that they're already competitive today and the fact that Barzal is already Barzal right now. It's tough to come up with a package that would make a team willingly give up a 22-year-old point-per-game center who has top-line potential, who's already a top-line center, and who is just going to get better and better and better. But when you're involving pieces like Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who could become so much better within a year from now than what he is already, as well as such a stacked top 10 potential pick, then there's an argument to be made. But of course, I'm not the one deciding that. I'm just the guy looking at the trade proposals and making a video about it. So comment down below what you think about this trade proposal. Would you do it? Would you not? Who do you think wins the trade, and who do you think has more to gain from it? I'm leaving that all to you in the comments below. Comment down below your trade proposals as well, and we'll be using those for future videos, as well as check out the community tab and look at the post over there. You can comment your trade proposals over there as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Social 99, and bye.